It never fails. You're watching television and someone is circling the drain in the toilet that is their life. The noise from the heart monitor affirms they're still alive with its consistent rhythmic beeps. All of a sudden, alarms start going off, and there's the dreaded flatline. Doctors begin rushing in and one of them always seems to yell, "Hand me the paddles, we're losing him!" The machine is charged and miraculously the heart shot back to life. Saves the day. But of course this is only after a suitably dramatic number of zaps and someone inevitably shouting, "Live, damn you!" The problem is that in real life you'll be accomplishing absolutely nothing by shocking a flatline patient, unless, that is, you like your meat well done. Medically, a flatline is known as asystole, meaning there's no heart contraction. It might seem common sense that if there is no contraction, you might get it to contract with a shock. The truth about why this will never restart the heart lies in how the heart creates its life-giving beat. In the end, it all comes down to electrolytes. The heart typically receives approximately 60 to 100 shocks per minute, usually from specialized pacemaker cells in the right upper portion of the heart, known as the sinoarterial node, or SA node. These specialized cells will naturally create an electrical differential between the inside of the cell and the outside. Once that differential is at just the right amount, it will send a shock down and throughout the heart muscle, causing it all to contract. Once this electrical signal is produced, it will generally go completely throughout the heart through the cardiac conduction system. Well, you might be thinking right now, yo Simon, if the heart creates a shock to get a contraction, why won't shocking it externally get the job done? Well, the devil here is in the details. The SA node, it creates an electrical differential using electrolytes like potassium, sodium, and calcium. These electrolytes, they've all got specific electrical charges that pass through your cell walls using channels named after the electrolytes. These are the sodium channel, the calcium channel, etc. Potassium generally lies inside of your cell before it contracts. Sodium and calcium generally reside outside of the cell. When you have blood pressure, and if you didn't, you'd be dead pretty quick, sodium is naturally forced inside your cell. This also causes potassium to be forced out of the cell, creating an electrical potential. Once that potential gets high enough, it opens up calcium channels, which are voltage regulated. When the calcium channels are opened up, sodium and calcium rush inside of the cell, creating just the right amount of charge. Once that charge is reached, the heart sends out its shock, known as depolarization. So where does that impulse go once the SA node creates it? When the SA node sends out its life-sustaining impulse, it immediately shocks the atria. The pulse then essentially gets sort of held up in another set of cells called the Atrioventricular Node, or AV node for short. This allows for the bottom part of the heart to receive the blood from the top part. The AV node then transmits the impulse down something called the bundle of His, and then to two pathways called the right and left bundle branches. It then gets transmitted to the rest of the ventricles through what are called the Purkinje fibers. Altogether, this shock causes the atria to contract, then the ventricles. It's the wonder of a pulse. This electrical conduction is what doctors are looking at when they're staring at the heart monitor. Generally speaking, this impulse creates a squeeze that actually creates your pulse. There are times, however, that this is not the case. A person could have a normal-looking electrical conduction on the monitor and still have no pulse. This phenomenon is known as pulseless electrical activity, or PEA. This is one of the reasons why doctors still need to check pulses and blood pressure even if the person is hooked up to a heart monitor. When someone is in cardiac arrest and has no pulse, depending on how the electrical conduction system is working, they might need to be shocked. There are numerous electrical rhythms that can present themselves in cardiac arrest. We're going to touch on the most common and why shocking works. The most common heart rhythm just after someone goes into cardiac arrest is known as ventricular fibrillation. When the SA node fails to create a beat, countless other cells within the heart attempt to create that beat instead. The result is numerous areas of the heart that shock it all at the same time from various different directions. Instead of a steady contracting beat, what you get is a heart that looks like it's having a seizure. The effect is a heart that doesn't pump blood through it. The only way to get those different areas of the heart to work in unison again is to shock them with more electricity than the cells themselves are creating. When you shock these cells with that large amount of electricity, it forces all of the electrolytes out of the cells at the same time. The hope here, and yeah, it's really just a hope, is that the heart's normal operation of electrolytes passing across the cell membranes in an organized fashion will take over again. Here is the devil in the shocking detail. When someone is in asystole or flatlined, there is no electrical differential that the monitor can pick up. Essentially, there are no specific electrolytes inside the cell compared to outside the cell with different electrical potentials to create an impulse. If you attempted to shock this, you wouldn't be doing anything. There are no electrolytes to force out of the cells that are any different from the ones that are already outside of the cells. All you would do is get more flatline. In fact, after every shock ever given to someone in cardiac arrest, the rhythm created for a few seconds is asystole, with the heart rhythm being temporarily stopped. It takes a few seconds for the normal pathways to get going again. If you had asystole before you shocked it, all you would do is burn the heart with the heat created from the shock. As every meat lover knows, do not burn the meat. In the end, it's just a Hollywood myth that you'd treat someone who's flatlining with a shock. You must first have some sort of electrical impulse to work with. Luckily for those who do flatline, medics have a number of other tricks up their sleeves to try to get a heart in a state conducive to beating properly again. The problem just seems to be that Hollywood just doesn't find those dramatic enough. So I really hope you found that video interesting. Hopefully we didn't spoil every movie you're gonna see ever again when that happens. We definitely did do that. Still, give this video a like. Why not subscribe? And as always, thank you for watching.